Medicines are not just blessings, they are another way for new life. And all thanks to our superheroes who contributed a lot to it. Thanks to the golden era heroes. Edward Jenner, who kicked off cowpox and smallpox, known as father of immunology. Edward Jenner was born on 17 May 1749 in Berkeley. When Jenner was 14, he started working with Daniel Lildo for 7 years. In 1770, he was appreciated in surgery and anatomy under Surgeon Hunter at St. George Hospital, London. Now, Jenner was a successful doctor and surgeon. So, he returned back to his native countryside by 1773. Edward Jenner attempted a very famous and risky experiment. In those days, people used to die to a deadly disease called as smallpox. It was 1796. One day, Jenner observed Sarah Nance, an ordinary milkmaid, get infected by cowpox. Doctor, I have caught a horrible rash while milking a cow. What is it? Nothing serious. It's just cowpox. How many maids have had cowpox but no smallpox? All of us. The common observation that Jenner made that milkmaids were generally immune to smallpox. There's really a cure. Jenner suggests that the pus in the blister that milkmaid received from cowpox protected them from smallpox. Jenner tested his hypothesis by inoculating James Phipps, an 8-year-old boy. I think it can stop you from getting smallpox. It won't hurt you much. Oh. Jenner scraped pus from cowpox blisters on the hand of Sarah Nance. All I'm going to do is to give you the pus from this milkmaid cowpox. Then later give you smallpox. Hopefully I'm right and you will survive. Jenner inoculated Phipps in the arms on that day, and later Phipps was experiencing fever and uneasiness, but no full blow of infection was there. Many days later. I'm fine. Hooray! I'm a genius. I need to tell to the world. Now, Jenner wrote a letter to the British government. Dear the British government, the initial source example, the infection was a disease of horses called the grease, which was transferred to cattle by worm workers, transformed and then manifested as cowpox. If variolation after the infection with cowpox fails to produce a smallpox infection, immunity to a smallpox is achieved. Edward Jenner. And this vaccine was eventually accepted in 1840.
अच्छा चिंटू, एक बात बता, पढ़ाई करते समय पानी क्यों नहीं पीने चाहिए बता?
अरे भैया, हमें नहीं पता, तुम ही बता दो मिंटू।
क्योंकि चिंटू, concentration decreases on adding water.
Coming to our next hero, who is related to penicillin, the bap of penicillin. Can you guess his name? Yes, he is Alexander Fleming. So let's get to a short story and know about his discovery. So Abhi and Vicky are two friends playing in swimming pool. Yippee! Yay! The next day, Abhi was not feeling well. So Vicky asked, "Why did you cancel the picnic plan?" "I was not feeling well." "What happened? Till yesterday you were superb." "I think I had spent more time in the pool, that's why." "What are the symptoms?" "Fever, weakness, dehydration, cough." Don't worry, Alexander Fleming had done a great job by his accidental discovery of penicillin. How? Don't you know about the interesting story? No? Then let's go to the flashback. Alexander Fleming was a Scottish bacteriologist. He was born in Scotland on August 6. Alexander's earlier schooling between age of 5 and 8 was at a tiny moorland school where 12 people of all age were taught in a single classroom. Hey, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? Alexander Fleming enrolled at St. Mary Hospital's Medical School in Paddington. He qualified with an MBBS degree from the school with distinction in 1906. Yeah, finally I'm a graduate. Fleming served throughout the World War I as a captain in Royal Army Medical. During World War I, Fleming witnessed the death of many soldiers from sepsis resulting from infected wounds. Oh my god, so many people got injured. Antiseptic was working on the surface of the skin, but deep inside, as the anaerobic bacteria were making shelter, it was failed working on it. This antiseptic are not healing the wound, it is making the wound worse. But Dr. Fleming, we have to find some other alternative for this. Now Dr. Fleming and his team started to work with alternative of antiseptic. While he was doing research for some drops of nasal mucus fell on the affected area and he observed that this mucus was killing the bacteria. Woo! A miracle happened in World War I. I think I found the alternative for antiseptic. He found that the nasal mucus had an inhibitory effect on bacterial growth. This was the first recorded discovery of lysozyme, an enzyme present in many secretions including skin, hair, saliva, nails and nasal mucus, but this wasn't the permanent cure. As now, Fleming was checking his petri dishes after a long time. When he saw some of the petri dishes, it were covered with fungus under the microscope. He saw the fungus was growing and the bacterial colonies around it had been killed, and then he was shocked. Ooh! Finally, there was a hope of new natural antibiotic. He started growing more fungus and observed that it belonged to the genus Penicillium, and this produced a bacteria-killing liquid. In the year 1929, he formally named the antibiotic penicillin, and finally an miracle happened. Woo, that was great. Fleming published his discovery in 1929 in the British Journal of Experimental Pathology, showing the penicillin was killing many bacteria including fever, pneumonia, meningitis. It was non-toxic antibiotic. But now there was a real problem. The penicillin was really very hard to isolate from fungus and produce it in concentration. So he went to his boss Almont, right? But Almont didn't like chemists. I have found a better alternative for antiseptic, but we need the help of chemists. I will never allow a chemist to enter my lab. Alexander was very confused and didn't have any other way to produce penicillin, and then he decided to not work on this discovery. I don't want to work on this discovery. In early 1940s, a team of scientists, pathologists named as Howard Florey and biochemist Ernst Boris started studying on penicillin. Ernst Boris, Howard Florey. After stabling the penicillin structure, they started to synthesize the penicillin, and then finally the first antibiotic was ready, which killed all the bacteria. They started studying the molecular structure of penicillin and then stabled the structure of penicillin. Alexander Fleming, Howard Florey and Ernst Chain were awarded the Nobel Prize in 1945 for the discovery of penicillin, the world's first broad-spectrum antibiotics. Congratulations! Thank you. So here, Alexander Fleming said something astonishing in his speech. It is not difficult to make microbe resistant to penicillin in the laboratory by exposing them to concentration not sufficient to kill them, and the same thing has occasionally happened in the body. The time may come When penicillin can be bought by anyone in the shops, then there is the danger that the ignorant man may easily underdose himself, and by exposing his microbes to non-lethal quantities of drug, make them resistant. Alexander Fleming, 1945. And from there, we got the path of penicillin.
बात बचाओ जी मुझको. हाँ पूछना क्या पूछना है. अगर हम इसको वायरस कहेंगे तो इसको क्या कहेंगे जी. क्या कहेंगे जी, तुम ही बता दो ना. अरे रेट्रोवायरस जी, माइंड इट.
Bacteria. Everywhere bacteria. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. So let's see who is father of it. Who is father of bacteriology? Robert Koch. In 19th century, tuberculosis had many words like scrofula, and the most popular one was consumption due to the drastic weight loss and white death because they were becoming pale. The cities were crowded and unclean. It was normal to spit on the floor, and it was a fashion too. Gross fashion. And the pollution was increasing drastically. It was its high peak because of the smoke released by factories. This was becoming the ideal environment for TB. TB was affecting the patients slowly. First, they had symptoms of coughing, weakness, weight loss, and suddenly droplets of blood on handkerchief. Oh my God, there is blood on your handkerchief. I'm not feeling well. During the 19th century, up to 1 in 7 people died due to TB in Germany. People took opium and cod liver oil to mitigate the suffering. It didn't fight the disease. Some people started staying in infirmary and some went to hilly areas for fresh air. Robert Koch was in Gloucester, Germany on 11 December 1843 to Hermann Koch and Mathilde Julie Hornet. Before entering school in 1848, he had taught himself how to read and write. Cool. He graduated school at the age of 19 in 1862, having excelled in maths and science. Seriously? It's too young. Koch did research on the secretion of succinic acid in his medical school. Several years after his graduation in 1866, he worked as a surgeon in Franco-Prussian War. Koch's early research yielded one of his major contributions to the field of microbiology as he developed the technique of growing bacteria. So many animals. He kept many animals in his backyard and he began to study about the anthrax which was evolved from rabbit community. His break was when he isolated and demonstrated growing of bacteria in pure laboratory culture. No one ever could have thought to do this. Now he lacked the equipment, so he started inventing new and found ways to grow bacteria on gelatin and agar. I'm too good in this. He provided anthrax was caused by bacteria and can infect the healthy animals. Thus, he proposed the germ theory of bacteria. I have made everything easy for the future generation. Robert Koch postulates the bacteria must be present in every case of the disease. The bacteria must be isolated from the host with the disease and grown in pure culture. The specific disease must be reproduced when a pure culture of the bacteria is inoculated into a healthy, susceptible host. The bacteria must be recoverable from the experimentally infected host. Koch criteria brought some much needed clarity to the field of microbiology. Until date, these are followed. Enter Dr. Robert Koch, hero of German Empire. He worked day and night to find the cause of tuberculosis. After the research, he announced that it is caused because of Mycobacterium tuberculosis, a substance that, when infected in guinea pigs, starved the pathogen of death by killing the injected flesh it fed on. After injecting it in animals, he injected the dose in the patients suffering from tuberculosis. "Don't worry, everything will be fine." After taking the injection, it brought severe fever, chills, and patients experienced growth of lymph nodes which become toxic. "I'm not feeling good." In the year 1819 in Berlin, at Science Congress, many people arrived to see Robert Koch, and at that time he announced that he found the cure for tuberculosis. In March 24, 1882, he announced that he found the pathogen that caused tuberculosis, either Mycobacterium, the bacteria. "I'm here to tell you all something." Everything was going good. But one day, Louis Pasteur found the vaccine of anthrax before the Koch, and boom, the clash between them started. "Why do you do this to me? I have only done my work." He wanted to make his greatest discovery by discovering vaccine for tuberculosis. After that, he would also get his own institute, just like Pasteur. "Now I have to do more hard work to beat that Louis Pasteur." After he came to know about the cause, he started to search for the cure, and after that, he found a partial cure. "I think I found the cure." After 8 years, he found the substance that, when infected the guinea pig, it helped to detach the dead flesh via cup. But it only restricted the disease, couldn't completely cure it. "I have at last made it now. Now I am famous, and I have my own institute." In 1944, they got a conclusion that this would not work if only Robert will work on this. They need more hands from different fields of science. "No one trusts me." In many countries, it was forced to cover their mouth while sneezing and coughing. "Now we have to live this mask for our entire life." In 1908, they found another TB called Scrofula, King Evil, which was found in the cow and was spread through milk. "What? Not again." The great Pasteur found the way called the pasteurization. It worked and stopped spreading the scrofula. "Woohoo! I've cracked this also." Bovine TB is the most dangerous TB as it could take many lives. French TB, Clement and Guerin found a solution by discovering the BCG vaccine, from which people were safe from decades. There is this most dangerous TB. What is that? Salman Waxman and his team found 10,000 bacteria from which one was capable of producing the sufficient amount of streptomycin. "I have to do something." In 1944, it was proved that streptomycin was only effective against TB, but they kept their trials going on because they were very much influenced by the Koch. Well, move in the path of Koch, sir. In 1946 to 1948, British doctor gave streptomycin to the patients. Initially, results were good. Then it started getting worse. They found that if TB is not killed, then it also becomes resistant to antibiotics. What is this now? Now people have to take it as a course of antibiotics to resistant. The cause that may reoccur, and these antibiotics was highly priced in every country. The only way to be healthy was to helping ourselves to be clean. Be safe, be healthy. And now we all have to be cured from this TB. Now we have all the things to be cured from the bacteria or viruses. Thanks to all the superheroes who made it easy and simple our lives. So let's thank to all the superheroes, whether it is bacteriology, the father of bacteriology, Robert Koch, whether it is penicillin, Alexander Fleming, or whether it is other scientists who helped us in every way.
ए जीवन, एक बात बताओ जी मुझको। हाँ हाँ, पूछना पूछना, क्या पूछना है? अगर हम इसको वायरस कहेंगे तो इसको क्या कहेंगे जी? क्या कहेंगे जी? तुम ही बता दो ना। अरे रेट्रोवायरस जी, माइंड इट।